Welcome, viewers, to our channel. Today, we shall uncover the dark and tragic secrets of Pompeii's final fall. Countless stone bodies lie forever frozen in deep agony. A desperate mother holds her child in cold silence. These are not mere stone sculptures, but tragic victims of a massive disaster that erased a whole ancient city. Before the great volcano struck, this place was a magnificent paradise, where nobles bathed in warm sunlight. They drank rich wine and laughed aloud, completely unaware that a deadly time bomb rested right beneath their feet. A haunting and heavy quiet now rules over the gray ruins. Thick volcanic dust covers the broken marble floors. We clearly see the terrifying casts of human figures. They remain hopelessly trapped forever in their final moments. Look closely at this fallen mother shielding her young, fragile baby. Her desperate embrace is tightly locked in stone. Near the completely ruined gates, a twisted man gasps for breath. His haunting, silent scream echoes through the empty streets. Even innocent animals could not escape the sudden wrath. A chained dog writhes on its back, fighting the thick falling ash. According to ancient historical records, this thriving city vanished completely in just 24 short hours. The magnificent sheer scale of the destruction is hard to imagine. Thousands perished without a single warning sign. Furious nature showed no mercy to the rich or the poor. Everyone became truly equal beneath the falling rocks. A thick blanket of gray pumice buried the grand Roman temples. The extremely proud statues of gods were torn to pieces. The suffocating air grew heavy with toxic sulfur and thick smoke. Breathing became a truly painful struggle for life. Ancient historians tell us the darkness was truly absolute. It was a pitch-black night that swallowed the midday sun. The heavy layer of volcanic ash acted as a perfect seal. It froze time itself for nearly 2,000 years. These eerie plaster casts are exact imprints of the tragic dead. They clearly reveal the true horror of that fateful day. You can distinctly see the pure terror etched upon their pale faces, their bodies contorted in immense physical pain. Wealthy lords and humble slaves perished side by side in this place. Their precious golden rings offered no protection at all. A profoundly heavy sorrow lingers in these desolate alleys. The restless ghosts of the past seem to whisper in the wind. The vibrant, beautiful frescoes on the walls are coated in gray dust. The brilliant colors of life were violently erased. If you lived in this ancient Roman city during those strange tremors, would you have fled or bravely stayed to guard your wealth? It is truly easy to judge their choices from the future, but they had absolutely no concept of an active volcano. To them, the great Mount Vesuvius was just a gentle green hill. It gave them very fertile soil for their massive vineyards. The giant mountain had been completely silent for centuries. No living memory recalled its fiery ancient past. The people went about their daily chores in complete, utter peace. They truly trusted the solid earth beneath their bare feet. Little did they know that massive pressure was rapidly building up. Deep underground, a fierce river of magma boiled hot. The profound, tragic irony of Pompeii is incredibly heartbreaking. Their greatest blessing became their ultimate doom. Let us carefully turn back the clock to the bright days before the blast. We will witness the grand glory of their empire. Just imagine the bustling, lively streets, filled with vibrant, glowing colors. The markets were packed with merchants from distant lands. The delicious smell of fresh bread and roasted meat filled the warm summer air. Children played happily near the flowing fountains. Roman citizens greatly enjoyed an era of unmatched, lasting peace. The mighty legions kept all their enemies far away. Wealth flowed into the grand city from the vast ocean. It was a jewel of the Mediterranean coast. But this glorious golden age was destined to end in brutal fire. The countdown to absolute oblivion had begun. Just days before the very end, Pompeii was full of bright, vibrant life. Patricians hosted lavish banquets in massive halls. They wore very elegant silk togas with rich purple borders. Heavy gold jewelry sparkled under the bright, warm sunshine. Servants poured endless cups of the absolute finest vintage wine. Large tables overflowed with exotic fruits and roasted meats. The grand public baths were deeply crowded with relaxed citizens. They debated politics while soaking in the warm water. Fierce gladiators fought bravely in the magnificent arena. The cheering crowds roared like thunder across the entire town. Down at the massive, busy harbor, wooden ships unloaded rich goods. Strong laborers carried heavy clay jugs of pure olive oil. The local economy thrived on deep pleasure and endless trade. It was a society firmly driven by material wealth. Temples dedicated to Jupiter stood immensely tall and proud. Priests offered daily sacrifices for continued good luck, yet the earth began to send subtle warnings of looming danger. Small tremors shook the ground beneath their sturdy leather shoes. Shiny silver cups rattled slightly on the polished marble tables. A few old statues suddenly cracked in the beautiful gardens, but the arrogant, wealthy elites chose to ignore these clear signs. They wrongly viewed the quakes as merely a minor nuisance. The scholar Pliny the Younger later wrote about these strange events. He noted that earthquakes were common in that active region. Because the tremors happened so incredibly often, nobody felt fear. The people simply repaired the cracks and drank more wine. Obedient slaves continued to clean the beautiful mosaic floors. Wealthy masters continued to gamble away their silver coins. The comforting illusion of eternal safety blinded their wise minds. They danced carelessly on the edge of a massive grave. If you saw the ground shaking day after day like that, would you have packed your bags and swiftly left the city behind? Most devoted families decided to stay in their beloved homes. They truly trusted the mighty Roman gods to protect their lives. The vibrant markets remained fully stocked with fresh fish and golden grain. The taverns echoed with loud music and drunken songs. High above the lively town, Vesuvius watched in dark silence. Its green slopes hid a catastrophic force of deep nature. Massive pressure inside the magma chamber reached critical bounds. The thick rock plug could simply no longer hold back the fire. The morning of August 24th seemed perfectly bright and clear. A warm summer breeze blew gently from the vast blue ocean. Busy bakers placed fresh loaves of bread into their hot stone ovens. Dogs rested lazily in the shade of the tall green trees. There was absolutely no sign of the rapidly approaching doom. The grand city woke up to celebrate another bright day. Then suddenly, the deep water wells dried up without a single trace. The hidden springs quickly boiled away into hot vapor. Birds stopped singing and frantically flew away from the ancient trees. Animals sensed the deadly shift in the atmosphere. Around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the entire world shattered. A deafening, terrifying roar tore through the quiet summer sky. The towering top of Mount Vesuvius violently blew apart. A massive pillar of extremely dark smoke shot up into space. The catastrophic force of the explosion was absolutely immense. It was stronger than 100 nuclear atomic bombs. The ground heaved violently, forcefully throwing people to the floor. Buildings groaned aloud as their strong foundations began to crack. Panicked citizens stopped in their tracks and stared at the dark mountain. Pure, utter disbelief washed over the entire population. The towering, toxic cloud of gas and rock reached the stratosphere. It looked exactly like a giant pine tree made of dark shadows. The incredibly bright afternoon sun was instantly swallowed by ash. An eerie, complete darkness descended upon the panicked town. At first, the panicked people did not know if they should hide or run. Total, absolute confusion paralyzed the streets of Pompeii. Then, the extremely deadly rain of hot pumice stones began to fall. The dark sky rained down jagged rocks instead of fresh water. The glorious and golden era of unmatched Roman peace was over now. The brutal, desperate fight for basic survival had just begun. Utter chaos erupted as burning rocks smashed through the fragile clay roofs. Wealthy nobles and poor slaves ran together in pure fear. Terrified mothers desperately grabbed their crying children by the hand. They frantically tried to find shelter inside their crumbling homes, but the heavy falling rocks quickly collapsed the wooden ceilings. Staying indoors instantly became a deadly trap for many people. Desperate people tied thick pillows to their heads with linen strips. They bravely braved the deadly storm to reach the grand city gates. The burning air was incredibly hot and choked their fragile lungs. Every single painful breath tasted like bitter sulfur and dust. The brave city guards stood completely helpless in the pitch-dark night. Their bronze shields offered no defense against the angry mountain. Thousands of absolutely terrified citizens rushed toward the sea harbor. They desperately hoped to find rescue boats waiting at the dark docks, but the violent, raging earthquakes caused massive ocean waves to rise high. The angry sea violently pushed them right back to the shore. There was absolutely no escape from this horrifying living nightmare. They were completely trapped between the deadly fire and the sea. As night finally fell, the volcanic cloud glowed with bright lightning strikes. The wrath of the gods seemed to relentlessly rain down without mercy. The totally dark streets of Pompeii became a deadly labyrinth. Heavy ash piled up incredibly fast, blocking every single door. Panicked people were completely trapped inside their own sturdy walls. The crushing, brutal weight of the roofs sealed their tragic final fate. The incredibly violent storm of rocks pounded the town without end. Beautiful, ancient marble statues shattered completely into dust. Terrified families huddled close together in complete, absolute darkness. They prayed to Jupiter, but no divine heavenly help arrived. The heavy air was extremely thick, with the horrible smell of sulfur. It painfully burned their eyes and slowly suffocated their lungs. Many desperately tried to dig through the debris with their bare hands. Their fingers bled, but the dark mountain's wrath was far too strong. Wealthy, desperate merchants offered bags of gold for a safe boat. But furious nature absolutely does not care about human currency. A few incredibly brave souls managed to escape in the first hours. They looked back and saw their entire beautiful world turning to ash. But for the vast majority, Pompeii became a tragic stone tomb. The relentless pumice continued to bury the streets all night. By the very next morning, the once glorious grand city was gone. It was entirely replaced by a desolate and gray wasteland. However, the absolute worst of the disaster was yet to come. The most incredibly lethal phase of the eruption had just begun. The gigantic dark ash column finally collapsed heavily on itself. Gravity pulled the massive dark cloud straight back down to the earth. This formed an extremely deadly pyroclastic surge of pure fire. A terrifying wave of superheated gas raced down the slope. It moved at unbelievable speeds of hundreds of miles per hour. There was absolutely no way to outrun this fierce and burning heat. The glowing red toxic cloud hit the city with brutal, unstoppable force. It instantly vaporized anything left completely in its path. The fierce heat soared past 500 degrees in a terrifying instant. People tragically perished from the agonizing extreme heat. Their physical forms completely shattered from the intense, sudden heat. Their tragic end came in a mere fraction of a single second. The final fallen victims had absolutely no time to even scream out for help. They fell where they stood, instantly vanquished by the burning ash. This unbelievably toxic cloud was the absolute end of Pompeii. It permanently sealed the tragic fate of every single living creature. When the fierce, raging fire surges finally settled down completely, the entire surrounding landscape was permanently and forever changed. Extremely thick volcanic debris completely blanketed the whole region. It deeply buried the city beneath 6 meters of dark stone. Pompeii was completely wiped off the map of the Grand Roman Empire. The heavy silence of death replaced the loud joy of daily life. The few survivors who fled early watched from a very safe distance. They wept as their beloved homes entirely vanished under the dark ash. Emperor Titus rapidly launched relief efforts straight from Rome. But there was simply absolutely nothing left of the town to save. Over the long passing centuries, people slowly forgot the town. Lush green grass and tall trees grew over the hidden volcanic tombs. It remained completely and utterly lost for almost 2,000 years. The incredibly tragic tale became a distant mythic legend. Then, in the late 16th century, amazed workers found old walls. They were digging a massive water channel near the hidden ruins. Serious, organized digging campaigns only started much later on. The 18th century clearly revealed the bitter and hidden truth. Brave explorers carefully brushed away the dirt and the dry pumice. They slowly discovered preserved streets and gorgeous ancient homes. The heavy ash acted like a perfect time capsule for the whole world. It completely protected the vibrant frescoes from the heavy rains. Dedicated workers poured liquid plaster into the dark, empty gaps. The hollow underground spaces were left by decayed human bodies. When the plaster fully dried and the ash was carefully stripped away, the deeply horrific casts of the fallen victims were revealed. This brilliant historical method let us see their exact final dying poses. We can truly witness their immense pain and their deep despair. The careful digging brought the lost ancient city vividly back to real life. It gave experts a unique, hidden view of daily Roman culture. We shockingly found ancient bakeries with old bread still inside the ovens. We found taverns with coins scattered on the wooden bar. The ancient graffiti on the walls tell stories of love and elections. These human touches make the horrific disaster feel deeply real. It is incredibly and truly rare to capture history in such fine detail. Pompeii is a vivid snapshot of daily human life. This profoundly massive tragedy serves as a powerful moral lesson. Our grand achievements mean nothing against nature's dark forces. The arrogant Romans believed their strong empire would last forever. They fiercely conquered distant lands and built massive stone arenas. Yet all their incredible military might could not stop a mountain. The earth simply shrugged, and a remarkably proud society fell. We confidently build our modern cities with the exact same hubris. We foolishly believe our highly advanced technology makes us safe. Far beneath our towering concrete cities, the earth is always shifting. Sleeping, dangerous volcanoes rest beneath our peaceful green parks. The tragically fallen victims of Pompeii remind us to remain humble. Their eternally frozen bodies speak volumes without making a sound. They deeply teach us to appreciate every single breath we take. Human life is incredibly fragile and can end at any given time. Thousands of tourists walk through these quiet, ancient ruins every day. They deeply marvel at beautiful art and grand, towering stone columns. The towering, tall mountain looms in the background, quietly watching. Vesuvius is highly active and could terribly erupt once more. Millions of innocent people live near its dangerous slopes today. Modern Naples sits directly in the dark shadow of the sleeping beast. Dedicated experts intensely monitor the huge volcano around the clock. They desperately look for any clear sign of rising underground pressure. Strict evacuation plans exist, but would they truly work in time? A sudden, incredibly massive blast could still cause absolute chaos. Pompeii is not merely just a dark, tragic chapter of Roman history. It is a powerful warning that dark history can quickly repeat itself. The eerie plaster casts will forever remain as silent guardians of truth. They brilliantly bridge the gap between the ancient past and the present. When we intensely look into their blank faces, we see our own deep fears. We truly see the universal and desperate human desire to survive. This deeply tragic city of ashes commands profound respect from all of us. It strongly reminds us that we are merely fragile guests on this earth. Let us deeply honor the memory of those who fell that sad day. Their terrifying story loudly echoes through the long corridors of time itself. The incredibly furious mountain may sleep now, but it is not completely dead, and tragic Pompeii will remain forever frozen in the thick ash. It proudly stands as a lasting testament to the supreme power of Earth. We must completely learn from the past to correctly prepare for our future, because the incredibly mighty nature always has the absolute final say. Its fiery, unstoppable wrath can quickly wipe away our triumphs. Pompeii is a profoundly dark reminder of our incredibly fragile life. Was this terrible, massive doom truly inevitable, or just ignored? Could our bustling modern cities face a similar sudden wrath of nature? Please kindly share your insightful thoughts in the comment section below. If you truly enjoyed this historical journey, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more incredibly fascinating